Hello Eastern, and welcome to the November 6th edition of ETV News. I'm Connor O'Malley.
And I'm Imani Futrell. Thank you so much for joining us.
We begin tonight with our top story. Democratic gubernatorial candidate Ned Lamont was at Eastern earlier this week. ETV News reporter Tyler Madden was in the Student Center to see what he had to say only a few days before the election.
Further ado, here he is.
On Tuesday, October 30th, students were invited to the Student Center Cafe to meet one of the three candidates running for governor, Ned Lamont.
It makes a difference, right? We found out 2 years ago, elections make a difference.
This year, Lamont is running against Republican candidate Bob Stefanowski and independent Oz Griebel, but took the time to come to Eastern Connecticut State University because he wants
every student here at Eastern to know how much is at stake. I told them if the Republicans end up decimating over half of our budget, they're going to pay for it in terms of higher tuition.
Lamont started the meeting.
And I want you to be able to think. I want you to be able to continually learn and change and think one step ahead.
But soon opened the floor to the public for questions.
Is there a way that you plan on promoting, like, STEM?
This is regarding the opioid epidemic that's going on.
And it's not just about detox, but it's also about recovery.
According to the most recent Quinnipiac poll, the race is too close to call. But Lamont plans to focus on issues such as
the gun control laws, women's right to choose would be at risk. The environment is not on his radar screen.
Also in attendance was State Representative for the 49th District, Susan Johnson, who thinks that it was great for Lamont to come to Eastern.
Kinds of things, those messages that he has, they're the right message. They're actually what I've been experiencing at the Capitol.
One of the coordinators of this meet and greet, Jackson Delaney, believes it was great to have Lamont on campus because
it's such an important thing to us to try to get Ned to come here because the election's in less than a week. So it was really amazing to be able to pull it off and get such a good turnout.
With under a week to go before the election, the candidates are pulling out all the stops. Make sure you get out and vote on Tuesday. For ETV News, this has been Tyler Mann reporting.
Thanks, Tyler. This election is one of the most important of our lifetimes, and we hope everyone got out to vote. In other news, on Saturday, November 3rd, at 7:30 p.m., Eastern's woodwind faculty will present a combined recital as part of a music program's faculty recital series. This event is taking place in the Fine Arts Instructional Center and is free and open to the public.
On November 7th at 3 p.m. in the Student Center Theater, Chief Marilyn Malerba of the Mohegan Tribe will present a talk with the First Nation, first modern female chief. Appointed in 2010, Malerba is the 18th chief of the Mohegan Tribe and is the first female chief in the tribe's modern history. This event takes place in the Student Center Theater and is free and open to the public.
The 19th Annual Animation Show of Shows will show at Eastern Connecticut State University on Wednesday, November 7th at 7 p.m. in the Student Center Theater. The Animation Show of Shows is traveling selection of the year's best animated short films. It is a 93-minute selection consisting of 16 internationally acclaimed animated shorts presented by Acme Filmworks. This event is free and open to the public.
Eastern Connecticut State University will be hosting a Veterans Day ceremony on Friday, November 9th at 9 a.m. in the Student Center Theater. Refreshments will be served. This event is open to the public and is free for all those who attended.
3 executives from A&E Network will visit Eastern on November 7th to discuss the criminal world as portrayed on television. The event will take place from 3 to 5 p.m. in the Johnson Room of the library. The panel will feature an executive producer from Live PD and producers from series such as The First 48 and The Secret Tapes of the O.J. case. This event is free and the public is encouraged to attend.
3 distinguished alumni from Eastern Connecticut State University were inducted into the Eastern Fellows Program on October 19th. In addition to joining the ranks of the university's most successful alumni, Charlotte Brazil, class of 1980, Raymond Hill Jr., class of 83, and Sean Miek, class of 95, returned to campus to meet with students and share career advice in a panel. Brazil is a retired FBI agent who now leads an investigative consulting firm. Hill is a professor at the Air Force Institute of Technology with an extensive military background. And Miek is a former social worker turned entrepreneur who leads the multi-million-dollar organization Family First Life. The Eastern Fellows Program was established in the 2008-2009 academic year to recognize and engage distinguished alumni in the life of the campus community. Including these three newest inductees, 32 Eastern alumni are in the program.
For the past couple of months, students have been involved in intramurals here at Eastern. ETV News reporter Sammy Honeywell volleyed herself over to the courts. Let's take a look.
Whether you're a competitive athlete or just looking to have some fun, Eastern Connecticut State University offers intramural sports for students. Here at Geisler Gymnasium, students have signed up for Intramural Volleyball and are working hard to win the championships. Starting October 18th, Intramural Volleyball brought students together who all have similar interests.
I decided to do intramural volleyball because I've been involved in sports my whole life and I've never tried volleyball before, so I thought it would be the best time to try a new sport.
Intramurals are very popular at Eastern. Groups are a minimum of 6 players and a maximum of 12 that can be random or made on their own. For example, Eastern softball team has made their own group to have some fun and bond during their off-season. Regardless, intramurals get students involved, and Savannah Carrillo is a referee for the program.
I've made so many friends just from other teams who play, and I take their IDs and I check them in, and I get to know them through the sport.
The school offers different sports for each season. In the fall, soccer, flag football, volleyball, dodgeball, softball, and tennis are offered, while in the spring, basketball, volleyball, soccer, floor hockey, and softball are an option. After playing in high school, Karina Torres joined intramurals at Eastern right away.
Well, regardless of like skill set or like how well you've played or how much of the knowledge of the game, we still take you in and they'll still let you play, and it's a really great way to like get involved with the school.
Unfortunately, the registration has ended for all of the intramurals for the fall season, except for co-ed dodgeball, which begins its season on November 14th. For ETV News, I'm Sammy Honeywell, sending it back to the studio.
Thanks, Sammy. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Sierra Williams will be here with this week's editorial. Stay with us.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason. Because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Hey ECSU, I'm Sierra Williams with this week's editorial. Did anyone receive the email about resetting your password because there's been some phishing activity going on? The first question you might have is, what is phishing? Phishing is the fraudulent practice of sending emails purporting to be from reputable companies in order to induce individuals to reveal personal information such as passwords and credit card numbers. In the past 4 months, there has been multiple spams and breach of security that put students' information, passwords, and accounts at risk. Emails and alerts were sent out to every student to contact the IT help desk to change passwords if their accounts had been compromised. There's so much important and valuable information that we trust with the school, so why is it that the security system is so easy to get through? The solution isn't to calling the IT to reset password, it's building and installing a system where information is protected. The O365 anti-phishing system that currently prevents spams and attacks are not up to date. According to an article written by Yovan Nathaniel, over 100 million users failed to be secured by this very system. In the article, he stated, "We recently uncovered that what may be the largest security flaw in Office 365 since service was created. Unlike similar attacks that could be learned and blocked, hackers used this vulnerability to complete bypass of all Microsoft security, including its advanced services, like ATP or SafeLinks. So far, we have only seen hackers exploit this vulnerability to send phishing attacks, but it's also capable of distributing ransomware, malware, and other malicious content. I know that my money going into this university was a great investment, but I feel that they should do a better job at securing personal information and preventing shady users to gain access. Don't you?" Thank you for joining me on this week's editorial. I'm Sayer Williams. Let's send it back over to Connor and Imani.
Thanks, Sayer. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of you, I felt wanted and not alone in this world.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included and I knew that I was going to be okay.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
"11 people were killed and 6 more were injured on Saturday in a shooting at a synagogue in Pittsburgh. 46-year-old Robert Bowers was arrested and indicted on 44 federal charges and 10 other charges punishable by the death penalty. The most recent shooting garnered a strong response from the White House from Vice President Mike Pence.
In the days ahead, I promise you, the President and I and our entire administration will do everything in our power to bring these senseless acts of violence to an end. But for now, we urge every American, pray for the victims and their families and the entire Jewish community all across Pittsburgh, that they would know that we are with them. And also pray, as the President said this Saturday, that our nation would, in his words, rise above the hate, move past the division, and embrace our common destiny as Americans.
On Tuesday, President Trump, along with First Lady Melania Trump, traveled to the Steel City to pay their respects. Trump did not speak publicly during his brief trip, instead quietly paying tribute at the Tree of Life Synagogue, by laying flowers for the victims and visiting a hospital to see officers who were wounded.
With under a week to go before the midterm election, President Trump is planning on making many stops, including campaigning in Fort Myers, Florida, for Republican gubernatorial candidate Ron DeSantis and Senate candidate Rick Scott. Trump talked about a whole host of issues during Wednesday's rally, including the cleanup efforts from Hurricane Michael that hit parts of Florida a month ago.
We send our prayers to the Florida Panhandle, people we love, and everyone in that storm's path. That was a tornado that was 50 times wider. That was brutal. We went there, we visited, we had houses ripped off their foundations, and even the foundations were gone. Nobody's seen anything like it. Together, we will ensure that Florida comes back stronger than ever, already happening. And you remember our hurricane last year, the response that we gave was A+, and Rick and everybody in Florida did a phenomenal job.
President Trump will be making stops in states including Indiana, Ohio, and Tennessee over the next few days.
President Trump earlier this week announced his intentions to end birthright citizenship, a policy that guarantees any child born on U.S. soil a right to citizenship, regardless whether their parents are citizens. Trump argues that it is unconstitutional.
Has never passed a law requiring birthright citizenship for illegal aliens, and the Constitution does not, I say that to the media, does not require it. Read it. Because illegal aliens are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States.
But others argue that President doesn't have the power to change this policy, including Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan.
Well, you obviously cannot do that. You cannot end birthright citizenship with an executive order. We didn't like it when Obama tried changing immigration laws via executive action, and obviously as conservatives, we believe in the Constitution. As a conservative, I'm a believer in following the plain text of the Constitution, and I think in this case the 14th Amendment's pretty clear. And that would involve a very, very lengthy constitutional process. But where we obviously totally agree with the president is getting at the root issue here, which is unchecked illegal immigration.
This will continue to be a hot-button issue, especially with the midterm elections coming up.
Well, the Red Sox did it again.
From the top on down, here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series. 5-1 the final tonight. And the best team in baseball wins it all in 2018. His efforts in 2018, incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. When a team leaves spring training.
Congratulations, this is the greatest Red Sox team in history. Congratulations, Red Sox Nation.
And on Wednesday, thousands, including myself, gathered in the streets of Boston for the championship parade. But there might not have been a parade without the effort of World Series MVP Steve Pearce. Overall, the first baseman went 4 for 12 and drove in 8 runs during the 5-game series. This Boston team will go down as one of the best ever. They posted over 100 wins during the regular season. This is the Red Sox 4th championship in 15 years.
We're going to take another quick break, but we'll be back with Jack Petrucci and his sports update.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Hey, let's check out this park.
That's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Hello Eastern, I'm Jack Petrucci with this week's sports update. Over the weekend, the men's soccer team and the volleyball team both had opportunities to clinch the #1 seed in the Little East Conference tournament. And for the volleyball team, they would clinch the first Little East Conference regular season title since 2006 with a victory. And the only thing standing in their way here on their senior night was the Southern Maine Huskies. And early on, Southern Maine was looking good with a block from the front row there. And then later on in the match, in the set actually, Casey Forrester with a nice spike right down in the middle there. And that gave Southern Maine an early lead, as Eastern Connecticut would actually take a timeout to try to get things back on track. But later in the first set, they're 1 point away, and Madison Bell off that serve, and then the block down there right in front, but shot too far over as Eastern Connecticut takes the first set 1-0. And then in the second set, senior Carly Balskis would lock in. She gets a set from Leah Sobneski and spikes that one down along that right side, and Carly Balskis was not done there. Here it is again right down in front, once again off the feed from Leah Sobneski, and then one more time right down and in. She's fired up, and her teammates knowing what's so close to happening. And then now in the third set, with only a couple more points to get, Anna Berry off her own deflection spikes that one down. Here's another look at it, cool, calm, and collected, and spiking that right down home. And then the final call from set number 3.
Jack, it would take something special for Southern Maine, have to be flawless. Long, Managia, Stern, hard swing there, and there it is. Your 2018 Little East Conference regular season champions belongs here in Willimantic.
12 seasons, Eastern Connecticut has won the Little East Conference regular season champions. They'll be the #1 overall seed and will host the Little East Conference semifinals on Friday at 5:30 and 7:30. And actually in that game, the volleyball team will be taking on Rhode Island College, where earlier in the season, the Warriors beat Rhode Island College 3-1 on the road. The winner of the Rhode Island College Eastern Connecticut game will play the winner of UMass Boston and Keene State in the championship on Saturday. As for the men's soccer team, they were in action on Friday night on their senior night, where they took on Rhode Island College. Now, to get the #1 overall seed, they need to win against Rhode Island College and need UMass Boston to tie or beat Keene State in a game that was also played on Friday night. And early on, Eastern Connecticut would get on the board quick. Justin Jensen with a corner kick, and Nick Starkowski comes down and heads that one in, putting that one in lower left. A beautiful feed from Justin Jensen. Here's another look at it. You see a perfect placement heading that in lower left. That put the Warriors on the board 1-0. Starkowski's 4th goal on the season. Then this time it's Griffin Luzek has the feed down to Patrick Ageman. And Ageman in his freshman season, that's his 8th goal of the season, and put right on the money there by Griffin Luzek. And Eastern Connecticut took an early lead, and they would actually go on to win 2-0. But remember, UMass Boston, who's currently trailing 1-0, needs to tie or beat Keene State. And it turns out that UMass Boston in overtime got the 2-1 victory over Keene State College, which makes Eastern Connecticut the regular season champions. Let's check out the locker room reaction. And Eastern Connecticut, the second fall team to be the #1 overall seed. They are named the Little East Conference regular season champions and will host the semifinals on Saturday. And Eastern Connecticut actually is looking for their first Little East Conference tournament win since 2013 and will host cross-state rival Western Connecticut on Friday. And for the women's soccer team, they are looking to make their third straight Little East Conference championship appearance. Even though the Warriors didn't have the 1 seed like the last 2 years, they still have a share of the regular season title. They will begin taking a trip across state to Western Connecticut on Friday to play in the Little East Conference semifinals. And that will do it for this week in sports. As always, I'm Jack Petrucci. We'll see you next week, Eastern.
Thanks, Jack. That's it for this week's show.
Thank you so much for joining us.
To keep up to date with all things ETV News, be sure to follow us on Instagram at ETVnews_, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And if you have any ideas for things you'd like to see on the show, email us at etv@my.easternct.edu. I'm Imani Futrell.
And I'm Connor O'Malley. We'll see you next week, Eastern.